Are you questioning the integrity of this coaching industry? Or are you frustrated, sick and tired of all these false promises and hype that you're seeing from business coaches online? Well, I am shocked because in the last few weeks, I've talked to dozens of coaches that have the highest amount of skepticism and frustration, the lowest amount of trust that I've ever seen in the last 13 years of operating a coaching business. And so I'm noticing some trends that I want to speak to because this is an elephant in the room that everyone needs to be aware of. Sadly, over the last few years, there's been an influx of a lot of people that have made these false promises for business coaching specifically, teaching you overnight success tactics and results without effort. And it's become this false belief in the industry today. The truth is that it takes an incredible amount of discipline and work and sacrifice and courage to build a coaching business. I think more than any other type of business. You can be very successful at it, but it requires you, yes, you watching this, to grow. And sadly, there's a lot of people taking advantage of other people because of this expectation of quick results without effort. And so here's what I have seen. I've talked to dozens of coaches in the last few weeks, as I said, and they are frustrated. They've invested tons of money. They've invested a lot of time in different coaching programs with little results. They've gotten these promises that, once they join, they're going to get a ton of leads right away, and they're going to get clients right out of the gate and, earn their first six figures in like 30 days. And although there's cases where that could happen, it is very, very, very rare. And so I want to align your expectations watching this with the truth of what really takes to build a coaching business today. Number one, in the last 5 years since the pandemic, there's never been more coaches and consultants online. This industry has exploded. And so there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of competition. The good news of this is that there's a lot of demand, right? There's a lot of people that want to help others, and there's a lot of people that see the value of investing in a coach, whether it's in their business, in their career, in their relationships, in their health, or in their life. But because of that, there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of content being created, just like this video here on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere. And we're drowning in this stuff. And so because the competition is increasing, because this market is becoming more and more saturated, the claims have to get more and more outrageous. And unfortunately, and I think that there's a good trend that is shifting away from this, but unfortunately for the last 10 years, all of these marketers that will rent a Ferrari or rent a private plane, and then they'll pretend like it's something that they own, posing in front of it to show this desired lifestyle that you could have by pushing a button and signing up for their program. I would like to share a little bit of my journey because I launched my coaching business back in 2014, so over 10 years ago. And that first year was not a huge banner successful year. I made about $5,000 a month, 60 grand, my first year. Now for you watching this, that amount may sound like a decent amount of money. It may sound like nothing. But that was my journey at the time because I had zero skills. And so if you are starting a coaching business from scratch, you don't know what your niche is, you don't know what your offer is, you haven't been trained as a coach, and you don't know how to facilitate transformation, is it really realistic to expect for you to hit 6 or 7 figures in the first couple months of your coaching business? Let's honestly ask ourselves that question, because that's what we're being marketed to. That's what we're being told is the easy path. It's an easy button that you push. Here's what happens when you build a coaching business. Number one is you are the product. You are the face of it. And yes, you could avoid video if you want to. I think that would be a disaster, and I don't recommend doing that. But if you choose to stay within your comfort zone and not record video, then you could write some things and hopefully some people will read those words. But very few will. And so when you need to build trust and rapport with your audience, there's no better way to do that than through video. And so this is a skill that I think is unavoidable. I think it's non-negotiable. I think it's someone that you got to develop. Doesn't mean that you have to love the creation of video. It just means that you've got to develop that skill. And yes, you can, if you're a writer, then focus on writing. Absolutely leverage that skill and see how it works for you. But that's one thing, is that If you built an e-commerce business, if you were manufacturing widgets, then you're not the face of it. You don't have to be the one creating that content because they're not buying you. But as a business consultant or coach, as a health coach, as a life coach, as a relationship coach, they're hiring you. A mentor of mine once said, people don't invest in coaching, they invest in coaches. And I think that's really powerful because it tells me and tells you that people need to have some sort of bond with you. They need to know, like, and trust you. And I know that's become a cliche today, but think about it. Would you ever hire a coach that you don't know, that you don't like, and that you don't trust? The answer is, of course, no. So how could you expect someone else to hire you if they haven't watched any of your videos, if they haven't consumed any of your content, if they haven't received any of your emails? Now, I know some of you don't want to do any of this stuff, and if that's something you genuinely don't want to do, then coaching is not really going to be the path for you. If you need to try to do it without doing those things, then go ahead and try and give yourself a time period, maybe 90 days to 6 months. And if you don't get traction, then you got to decide, is this path really for you? And so I want to share this with you because, again, you're being marketed right now in this moment, not from me, but from others. If you go to your Instagram, if you go to your Facebook, these magic bullets, these, pill that you can take and then all the riches rain down from the heavens. And so the real question is, what are the character traits that you need to develop to be a successful coach, 6 or 7 figure? Well, the first one is going to be discipline, because not every day I feel like turning this camera on and speaking to you. I don't feel like doing it every day. Now that I'm doing it, I feel good doing it. But thinking about it, preparing for it, researching about it, doing all that market research, I don't love doing that stuff. But I do it anyway. And the reason is because I know that it's going to impact you, it's going to be useful to you, and I know it's going to impact me. There's a potential that some of you watching this video may decide to book a call with us and explore if we can help you. So discipline is really important. And as you get older, maybe you're now married, maybe you've started a family, maybe you're 20, 30 years into your career, there's a lot of other responsibilities in your life than you had in your 20s. Now, for those in your 20s, you've got your own responsibilities. I get that. But as I'm now a father, leading a family, providing, protecting, there's a lot going on in our world. And so I just remind you that discipline is going to be required. Just like going to the gym and eating healthy to reach your health and fitness goals, you've got to show up and do the work every single day in your business. And when you don't, your business won't grow. You won't have the impact. The second thing that I'd recommend is really committing yourself to developing the skills to become a master coach, like really facilitating deep transformation for your clients. Because when you do that, number one, your clients get better results. But number two, you're going to feel more confident in offering your coaching. Imagine you have 0 skills right now, and then I tell you to go build a YouTube channel or grow connections on LinkedIn or run ads on Facebook or Instagram. Do you think you're going to really do that if you don't believe that you can facilitate impact in your clients' lives? The answer is, well, of course, no. But a lot of business coaches out there say you don't need any skills. You could be skillless. And you just follow their tactics, and then you get some conversations with people. And sure, some of those tactics could work temporarily. But imagine those tactics actually produce calls. And now you're having sales calls with people that you feel and that you know you cannot help. And then you follow someone's sales process and you get a client and you make this really big claim. I think that there's certain teachers out there that are incredible. I think what Alex Hormozi has done for this industry is very good. He wrote $100 million offers, $100 million leads. But the problem with his $100 million offers book is people followed it blindly when they knew they couldn't fulfill on that promise. They made this irresistible offer, this promise that they cannot back up. And sure, it got them some clients. But those clients are frustrated. They resent hiring that coach, right? Because of all the claims. And so what does it take to build a 6 or 7 figure coaching business? It takes discipline. It takes commitment to mastery. And it does take you to develop and commit to learning marketing and sales and systems, right? When you think about the 3 core functions of any great business, there's marketing, there's sales, and there's fulfillment. And if all you focus on is fulfillment, developing your skills as a coach, but you don't know how to generate leads and you don't know how to get clients, how in the world are you going to help anybody? So I just share this because I have had so many of these calls with people, and my gosh, I'm like kind of shocked at the level of skepticism right now. How do you overcome that skepticism? So number one, speak into it, address it, talk about it in your sales process, ask questions, because if you avoid it, then they will bring it up to you, and you do not want them to avoid that at all. Really, really important that they bring that up to you. The second thing is make sure that you are communicating your values. Make sure that you're communicating so people understand what your values are. Is integrity important to you? Is honesty, transparency important to you? Share not only the results that you've had in your business, because that'll attract people to you, but the results that your clients are getting. And in fact, lean more to the latter. That's really important. I see a lot of people on Instagram and TikTok, they're just claiming all these big things about their bank account. No one really cares about that, even though some people may, who are younger, care about that. What I'd rather see is you shouting the results of your clients from the rooftop. And in fact, they're your clients doing that for you. Right? That's why building testimonials and case studies and social proof is so, so important today. And then number three, make sure to really decide that you are willing to learn about marketing and sales and systems. And I talked a little bit about this earlier, but I think that is unavoidable on the path today. I remember having the mindset when I launched my coaching business that I was going to do it myself. I thought I was smart and driven and motivated. I thought I didn't really need anyone. I had this kind of lone wolf mentality. I don't know if you can relate to that. And for about 6 to 12 months, I tried to build my business. I started a website. I started a blog, and nothing happened. And in fact, I was blessed to be best friends with one of the best coaches on the planet, and he was giving me good advice. But the problem was he was my best friend, so I didn't really value it as much. I know that sounds crazy, but we often pay attention to what we pay for. So it wasn't until I hired my first coach, a guy named Garrett, where he shared with me some strategies and distinctions and tactics, and I actually started to implement them. Even though they're not different from what Sean shared with me, I listened to Garrett because I invested $20,000 to work with him. And so I'm not saying that you have to do that, but just know that imagine how much more committed you would be if you did that. And so when you're looking for a business coach, there's a couple criteria that I want you to consider. Number one is have a real conversation with them and their team and see if their values align with your values. There's got to be a value alignment there. Okay, that's number one. Number two is there's got to be a track record of amazing results. Right? If they haven't been in the industry for a while, if they don't have a bunch of social proof, and I know that some people don't believe social proof anymore, but it is really important to have that and to ask about that. That track record of results is really a make or break for me, right? I hired a business coach earlier this year. I invested $30,000, not a insignificant investment, but I did that because I was referred by a friend of mine. I interviewed 3 or 4 potential business coaches, and I chose the one that had the best track record, period. That's why. There was values alignment, number one, that was non-negotiable, and there was track records. Look at that, a thumb up just came up. I don't know how that works, but that's wild. Number two is let's make sure that business coach practices the exact things that they're teaching you. What you don't want is to hire someone who's doing something different than you're going to be doing. So just make sure that you ask them, what are you doing to grow your coaching business? And how are you going to teach me that? Number three is we got to make sure the clients are getting great results. That's not only their own track record for the results that they get as a coach, but their clients. That, again, is critical. Number four is we want to make sure that they have a step-by-step process to take you through. One of the biggest things that holds coaches back is the overwhelm of building a coaching business. There's a million things that you could be doing. So your job or your mentor's job, whether it's me or somebody else, is not to give you more ideas. It's to remove the distractions and to lay down a game plan that you can implement. And then the last step is just making sure they provide real, genuine support and accountability. And yes, there's a responsibility on your end to extract that, right? We offer on-demand one-on-one coaching calls to our students, but that's on demand. If they don't demand it, they don't get it, right? That's obvious. Most coaching programs don't do that. They'll give you a curriculum, they'll give you a group call, and that's about it. They won't give you the one-on-one coaching and consulting that's really required in terms of the support and accountability that you need today. So I want to take a few minutes today to just share my perspective on the coaching industry. My hope and my vision and intention is that we will restore integrity in this industry when people align more with what is spoken about in this video. I think the ones that make all these big claims that are still getting clients, 18 to 24 months from now, in the next 1 or 2 years, they're going to be out of business because they can't hide anymore, right? When you've got graduate after graduate after graduate that's not getting traction, that's not doing the work, then you can't hide that, right? People know. And so when you start your coaching business, take what I've shared with you and apply it. If you have questions about this, if you have comments, leave me a comment below. My hope is that this channel continues to serve and support you. I will always share with you actionable strategies and tactics, and this is less of one. This is more of a philosophy of this industry as a whole. But I wanted to speak into the truth of what's happening and what I'm seeing, just because as we're entering a new year, there's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of frustration, there's a low level of trust. And if you're feeling that way, I just want you to know that you're not alone. As always, if you've ever enjoyed these videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you would ever want our help in mapping out a roadmap to build your coaching business, then just book a call with us. You can see if it's a fit. There's always a link to do that in the description of any of our videos. And in the meantime, if you still feel like I'm a stranger to you, then go watch more of the videos and implement some of those strategies. My hope is that just from this YouTube channel alone, you start getting more paying clients and you start getting them great results. So I appreciate you watching this. My name is Peter Scott, reminding you to be here, act now, and fear less.